most malevolent attack of all. For all of us who like to consider ourselves to be spiritual, and not excluding the rest of humanity either, there is one form of psychic attack that has become, certainly in modern times, probably the most malevolent and ignored of all. This aspect of energetic intrusion and influence is so pervasive and covert that it has slipped through our natural defences more easily than any other. It destroys the mechanisms of life purpose, connection with others, joy, satisfaction, sense of personal value and achievement. It invades and lowers the mental frequency of man, and in so doing lowers his resonant vibration. It destroys motivation, inspiration and desire, and it can, over time, ultimately attack the physical body more subtly and effectively than even the most decisive and consciously motivated forms of voodoo or dark arts invasion. This form of psychic attack affects not just one soul, but the entire human race. Why waste time, energy and resources fighting a battle when you can simply infect your enemy with a virus that will spread like wildfire? Why would you try to convince anyone of something when you can plant a seed into their own mind? Why go to all the trouble of hiding your attack when you can place it under the noses of man so that he won't even see it? And why try to destroy the spirit of the essence of God when you can help his essence to destroy itself? This form of attack is so effective that it is now even acknowledged by modern science, embraced by ologies and used to great effect by those who know its power and understand its mechanisms. So powerful is this psychic weapon that it even works in creating separation, division, war, and all of the 7 deadly sins in one delivery of its payload. And so effective is this weapon of psychic technology that every human being knows about it, experiences it, and is even given the tools to combat it, but chooses for the most part to ignore it completely. Careers are formed upon its back, books are written about it, every single movie ever produced portrays it, and even politics, trade, commerce and education use it for their own ends. It has been firmly placed underneath all of our noses, and we fail to do anything about it. It is arguably so entrenched within the human organism at a subtle level that we can no longer do anything about it without great will, personal sacrifice and determination. It is the reason for people being so lethargic, unwilling to stand up for what is right and to fight injustice. And it is even why people in the West particularly won't even fight for their own rights anymore. This form of psychic attack comes to all human beings in the form of fear, and manifests through fear of loss, rejection, loneliness, isolation, standing out, speaking out, and ultimately fear of being everything that we were incarnated to become. It is the reason for the karmic wheel being so slow, and it is the reason why most people accept mediocrity and slavish consumerism. It is also the basis and the foundation upon which bullying, dictatorships, modern politics, economic policy, and even the illusion of economic growth are built. Its power overshadows, influences and manipulates our lives in every second, every minute, every hour, of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year of our lives. And still, the masses do nothing to help themselves to avoid it and to protect themselves from it. The more financially comfortable and by default more influential in changing it people become, the less they do about it, leaving the poor, sick, weak and helpless to become hopeless too. What is it? It is the energetic and subtle influence of other people's negative thinking. It is the significant negative influence of others for all negative human behaviour. There's an important note here, because we are not referring to mind control or other conspiracy-based views, for they are often subjective. We are referring specifically to a particular aspect of human mentality that has become an intrusive and malevolent part of its evolution over time, created by nothing more than thought forms in the mental plane, but fed and maintained by greed and the desire by some for elevated status or power over others. Even the foundations of our modern society in all of its aspects, and the inveterate and slavish consumerism that surrounds us today, were built upon its foundations of separation, division, and the greed of the few at the expense of the many, and it feeds, grows, and flourishes on the frequency of fear. Our entire human system now survives and thrives on greed, subservience, and fear of loss. So ingrained is it within the psyche and experience of man that those who cannot see it will defend the system and their opinions more fervently than they would truth, justice, honour, integrity, loyalty, and of course connection. So ingrained within the fabric and framework of our social conditioning is this psychic attack that we don't even think that we need to do anything about it anymore. So effective is its psychic influence that people have become sheeple, and the moment one of them tries to be individual, different, or question it by climbing over the fence to freedom, the rest of the flock try desperately to pull them back into the pen, using judgment, criticism, mockery, and when all else fails, the destruction of their character, credibility, or reputation. For the most part, perhaps we should stop worrying about all other forms of psychic attack, for in dealing with this one aspect of it, we would probably deal with all others anyway.